traveling, huh?
Always.
All right, let's see here. Wait for this. All right, we're streaming live now. Hey, welcome once again, team. Welcome to the end of the month team Zoom. It's Siv Kulwith here from the comfort of a hotel room in Las Vegas, Nevada, getting ready to do another launch event for Valentis. But guess what, guys? We have a very special guest, very special friend of mine. I met early, I think 2007, 2008. And man, this guy is super down to earth, and he's what I would say with 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, he is highly responsible for helping me get out of my shell, get out of my comfort zone, and actually break through my first $10,000 a month. To being someone that used to make excuses after excuses after excuses, to not do what it takes for me to be successful and achieve the level of lifestyle success I want for myself and for my family. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to my good friend and also industry trainer for the network marketing world with over 30 years experience, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And for him to actually be able to do this for our team is such an honor. So let me introduce you to Todd Falcone from Sammamish, Washington, or actually from Bend, Oregon now, right?
Yeah, well, we met. I was in Sammamish. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just taking, it's just bringing back memories.
Yeah, likewise. Well, thank you so much for having me, Siv. I appreciate it, and Peggy as well. Wow, man. I mean, it's so, this is like kind of going down memory lane when we reconnected the other day. And I remember when we first met and you were just getting started in the network marketing profession. To see what you've accomplished is amazing. I'm so happy for you to see you having stuck to it and really have gone on to be incredibly successful. So the people that you're working with are extremely blessed to be working with somebody who has such a high degree of commitment. And look, I mean, I want to make as much of an impact as I possibly can this morning. I'm sure many of you have probably never seen me speak, heard me speak. I don't really like talking about myself, but I think going back in time is an important thing to kind of know, where somebody came from. I think Natalie Cole coined the phrase, people tend to see the glory, but they don't know the story. They see where you are. They see, the accomplishments and the accolades and all of that, but they think, oh my gosh, you must have always been like that, right? And the reality is none of us were always like that. We're always, everybody who gets started in network marketing starts really at the same place. I mean, nobody grew up and said, hey, I'm going to do network marketing for a living, right? We have our life paths that we choose, and ultimately maybe somebody comes along and brings us a great product or a great idea, and we're open-minded enough to take a look at it. I was very fortunate to start in network marketing at a very young age. I'm 53 now. I started at age 22, right out of college. I was introduced to the profession, and I didn't know anything about it. I had never heard of network marketing, multi-level marketing, direct sales. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. All I knew was I wanted to be successful in life. Isn't that what everybody looks for, right? I don't care what your occupation or education or what your skill set is. Everybody wants to have a nice life. And so, being introduced to, I remember walking into this office in Irvine, California, thinking I was going to a job interview, all excited and all nervous, but at the same time, eager to see what this new job was all about, that I ultimately found was a business opportunity. I sat through a business opportunity presentation, and I thought, man, this is a really weird interview. Why are there so many people in this interview? And then all of a sudden my palms started getting all sweaty. I'm like, where's the boss? Who's the guy that's going to do the interview, right? And then some guy gets up in front of the room and starts talking. And I still don't even know I'm in a network marketing business opportunity presentation. So I say that because I want you to realize how naive and green I was. I had never even heard of it conceptually, but I sat through the 45-minute presentation. It made sense to me. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what's not to get about this? We got this product. We can share it with people. We can make a retail profit. We can build a team. We can build a large of a team as we want, and we can earn a percentage on everything that they do. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's going to do this. I can't wait to get home and start making phone calls. And first person I called was my mom. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's a pyramid scheme. If you do that, I'm going to make you pay back every last dollar of your college education. And And it was funny because the first thing I met with was negativity. Yet I saw what I saw. And I want you guys to think about something really quickly before I even get into this. You have to stop allowing other people's opinions of you to determine your self-worth, right? To determine your value. I think, in fact, I know for a fact that one of the biggest struggles people have in the network marketing profession is they allow other people's opinions or thoughts or whatever they are to dictate their future behavior. Okay. So and Siv knows this, and Peggy knows me as well. I'm just going to give it to you as straight as I possibly can. I don't beat around the bush. I'm not going to give you some fluffy crap for the next 45 minutes or so. I want to be as real with you as I can, because that's the only way I know to be. I wanted somebody, look, man, tell me the truth. What does it take to succeed in this business? Be real with me. I see the opportunity. I see the capacity for it. Just tell me what's the deal here? How do I do this thing? So I began that journey, and I'm not going to go through my whole journey because it's not, me taking you step by step through every part of my journey is not really relevant, but 30 years in the network marketing profession is a long time. By the way, not in and out and here for a little bit, gone for a long time, back in and out. I've been engulfed in the space for 30 years every single day. I've been speaking full time on the subject for the last 15 years. It's where, Siv and I met back in 2008 originally. And look, here's the thing. What I want to do with you, because we have limited time. I can talk for hours. I can spend the entire day with you guys. I know don't worry. I'm not going to go the whole day. I'm going skiing. So I got plans, and I'm sure you got plans too. But I want to give you some things to think about, right? So the first thing I want to say to you is, because I train all over the world, I've spoken now in like 30 countries. I don't care what the company is, what the culture is. It's all the same, right? Yeah, there are cultural differences depending on countries and places that we go, but everybody wants more. Everybody wants happiness. Everybody wants to feel valued, wanted, needed, appreciated. They want to have a good life, right? Everybody wants that. And fortunately for all of us that are, on this webinar today, you're all in a business that contains the mechanics of wealth, leverage. Most other businesses don't have what network marketing has. The ability to continue to earn income on the efforts that you did one time. Most people have to put in the hours to make the money. I'm not saying, by the way, we have to put in the hours to make the money, but we get to get paid over and over again from the time that we put in, which is very different than what most people do. And probably, 99% of the occupations or jobs out there. So if you're going to be successful in this business, the first thing that you have to do is you've got to make a decision, right? And now I understand that you're here. I really value the fact that you've taken time out on a Saturday morning to be here, to show up, to learn something. You have a distributor ID number. You're with the company. You're in. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, that doesn't mean that they've really made a decision, right? They're in. But, if we look at it statistically, a year from now, many of you won't be here. God willing, you'll be here on planet Earth. But a lot of people will opt out. And they'll get frustrated, they'll get discouraged, they'll give it a shot for a little bit, or they'll hang out for a little while. And then they'll ultimately, some of those people will bail out, where they could have been very successful in the business. So I think the first thing I want to say to you is you got to get real with yourself in this business. Okay. Nobody's going to do it for you. There's nobody that's going to come and save you. Siv ain't going to come to save you. Okay. Peggy's not going to come to save you. Your leaders are not going to come to save you. The only person that's going to save you is you. So what you've got to do is you got to decide for yourself today, now, if you haven't yet, I'm going to do this business until I succeed. Like, I'm not going to come in here and go, well, I'm going to give it this little window. I'm going to give it 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to give it, X amount of time. And then, we'll see how it goes. Because you're already going to, if that's your mindset, if that's your decision point, you really haven't made a decision. You decided to try it. And when you decide to just try something, you might as well not even try it, because what is it? Yoda say there is no try, only do. And I believe that, right? If you're going to do the business, do the business. And so here's a telltale sign to determine whether you've decided. Now, here's the thing. I go to events, like literally, like I was telling Sid right before we start, I'll be in Vegas on Thursday speaking at, doing a leadership training and another training this weekend at an event. Next week after that, I'm flying someplace next weekend. I'm flying all over the place speaking for different companies. And in all of these rooms, there are people sitting in these audience that have paid money for the tickets. They've flown into the event. They're paying for the hotel, but they're not doing a damn thing. They're not actually doing anything. And so they're there, they're warming up the seats, they're present in the room, but they're not really taking the action. Because to me, someone who's made a decision, a real decision, it's immediately followed up by never-ending action until you get done whatever it is that you're looking to get done. Otherwise, it's just, you really haven't made a decision. Because if I drew a line in the sand and said, I'm going to do this business, then it's immediately followed with me doing something in the business. And doing something in this business is, and by the way, look, here's the other thing. This is, thank God, this is beautiful, because what we do in network marketing is not really technically that hard, right? It's not technically challenging. It's all learnable. Like, for example, in Civ, I remember when you and I first met, like, look, I was the same way though. Cause when I started, I was a stuttering, sweaty, nervous wreck. I was scared to death, picking up the phone, scared the crap out of me. My palms would get all sweaty. My mouth would get all dry, get all cotton mouth. I remember I was on the phone with a prospect, like this back, like 1990. This guy was on the phone with me and he says, dude, he said, do me a favor, please take a drink of water. He said, all I can hear is your mouth clicking. Your mouth is so dry. Please take a drink of water. In fact, I'm going to take a sip of coffee real quick, speaking of. And I mean, you know what happens when you get nervous, your mouth gets all dry. And like, so it's like a desert, and then your palms are all sweaty. And then you're trying to like lick your palm to put some kind of liquid back in your mouth. After that, I like kept a bottle of water at my desk at all times so that I didn't, because I was nervous. That's like normal. That's part of the journey of improvement. And, going back to when I first met Civ, Civ, dude, you could barely pick up the phone when I first met you. You know that. I know that. We talked about that the other day. I picked up the phone, but I was like stuttering, and I've never stuttered in my life. I don't have I don't stutter, but I got on the phone. I was so nervous, I was stuttering. So just know that if your vision of what you want is big enough, if it's clear enough, if you have an idea of where you ultimately want to be, you'll push past those fears. You'll push past those butterfly stomach moments. You'll push past those feelings that you have. And I also want to say this, because I know this is going to happen for some of you. If you ever hesitate, like if you ever had an opportunity, for example, to engage somebody in conversation, in other words, the opportunity presented itself and you could have easily segued the conversation into Valentis, but then you didn't, right? You didn't do it. Like the opportunity was there and it was in your mind, like, man, this is a great prospect. And then you didn't do it. And some of you know what I'm talking about. And then you're like, you're 2 minutes later, you're like literally kicking yourself in your own rear. Like, dang it. Why didn't I say something to that guy? The opportunity was there. I said nothing. And you get all mad at yourself. Instead of getting mad at yourself, just go back to that moment and ask yourself, what was the predominant thought or feeling that was going on inside of my mind that caused me to not act? Because if you can get clear with what it is you fear, then you're going to more easily be able to push yourself through the fear. Like my brand, my trademark is the Fearless Networker. My book is Fearless. This is my book, Fearless Networking. It's not like I don't have fear. I have fear. We all have fear. That's normal, right? But it's the willingness to push the fear aside long enough to get done whatever needs to get done. And in my mind, there's two types of fear. There's a fear that keeps you from living your best life, and there's a fear that keeps you from, dying, right? So if I, for example, was standing on the edge of a 1,000-foot cliff with my toes curled over the edge of that cliff with it straight down with sharp, jagged rocks beneath it, with a 50-mile-an-hour tailwind, it would be natural for me to be fearful, because the end result of me getting blown is I'm going to fall to my death. So that's a fear that would keep you safe. It might cause you to stay 5 feet back from the edge of that cliff. But the kind of fears that we have in network marketing are, I don't want to say irrational fears, but they're fears that keep us from from really doing the things that are going to allow us to live a bigger and better life. Like I'll tell you again, and the biggest breakthrough really for most of you will be the moment you no longer give a damn about what somebody thinks about you for doing a network marketing deal. Okay. I can't tell you how many people I've coached, worked with, met, had conversations with that are, they're so afraid to admit that they're involved in network marketing that they don't even open up their mouth. Yet they're involved in a network marketing business. So here they are involved in a network marketing business, but they're not even willing to, oh, I don't know. Well, what if they find out it's network marketing? What if they judge me? Let me give you something. They're judging you already. People judge you all the time. Why not? I'd rather at least say, hey, Civ, I got this really amazing thing I'm doing. I'd love for you to take a look at it. If I sent you a video, would you spend 15 minutes taking a look at this video? And because he's judging me whether I bring that to him or not. If I have a relationship with Civ, everybody makes judgments upon other people. It's just, we talk about in network marketing, never prejudge somebody, right? But people do it all the time. The first thing you need to do is ask yourself, have I really made a decision that I'm going to do this business until I succeed? And then for those of you that say you have, okay, because I know there's many of you that are here that are working, that are showing up, that are prospecting, putting people on the products, putting people in the business. I want to ask you this question. I know you can't respond, but I want to ask this question. How many of you would like to be in a situation with Valentis where you earn enough money where your life could depend on it? In other words, you have more than enough money coming in where you don't have to worry about the bills. You don't have to worry about reading the menu from right to left. You don't have to worry about, can I afford this or not? You want to earn a full-time income where you didn't have to have other sources of income coming in. In other words, you had true success in network marketing. I'm assuming that's probably a lot of you. Now, in other words, your life could depend on it. Now, so here's the second question to that. Are you acting as if your life depended on it? Now this, you don't need to type it in the comment section. That's something for you to go, oh my gosh, wait a minute. Yeah, I want my life to depend on it, but am I acting as if my life depended on it? No. And some of you are. And if you are, good for you, then your check is gonna show that. But many people will, and I've done this on stages in front of thousands of people. There's a lot of people that are like, no. So here's the thing. In order for your life to depend on it, you need to act as if your life depends on it. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go full time. That doesn't mean you need to quit your job and go all in and go 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I'm not saying that at all, but you need to treat it seriously. You need to treat it as a business. You can build this business in your spare hours. You can build this business in the crooks and the crannies of your day. Some of you, like, here's the thing. One of the two biggest excuses that we get from our prospects: I don't have the time and I don't have the money. Those are the two biggest objections that we get. And then funny thing is, we get those from people that are in our teams, right? Oh, I just don't have the time. Well, look, I don't care how busy you are. Your 5-minute drive from here to the post office, that's a prospecting call. Your drive to go pick up your kids from school, that's 1 or 2 calls. The errand running session down to the bank to make a deposit, that's a call. I learned to make use of the crooks and the crannies of my day, because when you have extremely limited time, and by the way, for those of you that are bringing people in who have very little time, you need to teach those people how to look at their time differently, because most people don't look at their time, that drive from here. Like I'm going to be with my kid on this drive up to the mountain. It's 30 minutes door to door from here to the mountain that I'm going to go ski at. So because I like being present with my kid, I'm not going to be on the phone. But if it was me and I was by myself driving up to the mountain, that 30-minute drive, I'd be on the phone the entire time, talking to clients, reaching out to new business, doing whatever, because, that downtime. And I don't need to do that because I've been a full-time stay-at-home entrepreneur for 30 years. But for somebody who's got a job that they work 40 hours a week, they've got kids in sports, they've got other activities, they've got responsibilities, it's crucial that you make the most of your time. And a couple of other things, like, and on every platform that I've ever spoken on for the past 15 years, there's a very simple accountability exercise that I do. And I want you to, if you're taking notes, if you're not driving, of course, don't be taking notes when you're driving. But if you're sitting there and you're taking notes, I would suggest in your notebook, your journal, wherever you might be, I want you to draw a little box on a piece of paper, a little square, maybe a little 1 inch by 1 inch box. Okay. And here's what I'd like for you to do. Because here's the thing. People say all the time, I want to be successful in this business. I'm committed to the business. I'm in. Yeah, baby, I'm in. But this is the thing that will actually tell you right now how committed you are to the business. So what I want you to do in that box is write in the number of new people that you've exposed to Valentis in the last 24 hours. Not follow-ups, not people that you alphabetized on your list, not the Facebook Live that you did. How many reach outs did you do to engage somebody and introduce them to your products or your business in the last 24 hours? And here's the deal. If the number is this little donut hole, AKA a 0, then in my opinion, you're not in the business. And if that makes you mad, it should. And then the person you should be mad at is yourself. Go look in the mirror. But Todd, I had this going on. Look, I mean, you could be super busy and do 5 reach outs a day. Pretty simple. It's not that hard. I could get off of this training and in 20 minutes pique 5 people's interest and get them in front of a video. It's not that hard. So, look, a 0 is not a good number. In fact, I would challenge you to, actually, I have a 30-day challenge. Maybe you can write this down. I think it's toddfalcone.com/30-day, 30-DAY. It's a single page PDF. It's free. You can download it off my site. And it's called the 30-day prospecting challenge. So for any of you that are like, wanting to do more, but for some reason you're like, here's the thing. If I asked you, what have you done lately? And you can't tell me exactly what you've done lately, then that's a problem. I'll show you something really quickly. Like I've got this thing that I've been using for, this is a habit that I've done for years. And I still do it to this day as a trainer. I still do it. I got a couple sheets of paper in here. So I'm going to pull this thing out. So this is this thing I have called the Fearless Networker Prospecting Partner. I actually used to use this thing by Adams for years and I got sick of it. So I made my own because it wasn't specific to network marketing. But if you see here, and I'm not going to get it too close, but this is a log of every single outgoing call or contact that I make for my speaking business. I literally log every single bit of activity. If I were to send somebody a text message to, let me put myself back in the field for a second. If I sent somebody a text message to introduce them to my product, I would log the date and the time of that. If I sent you an email, I would log the date and the time of that. If I called you, I would log the date and the time of that. If I Facebook message you directly, I would log the date and the time of that. So then if my sponsor said, hey, if Sid came to me and said, hey, Todd, what'd you do today? I could say I did 48 reach outs today. It wouldn't be like, I don't know. Let me tell you a really quick story because this is too prevalent, unfortunately, in network marketing. Okay. So I get this dude, this happens all the time, but this particular conversation just really rings. It's blazing in my brain. This guy calls me on October 15th of 2016. I'd known the guy for a number of years. He calls me up and he calls me up with this really kind of depressed voice. He's like, hey, bro. I'm like, dude, what's up, man? And he's like, oh, and he goes, what's good out there? Because look, I know everybody in network marketing. Well, I don't know everybody, but I'm probably one of the most well-connected people you'll ever meet in network marketing. I know pretty much every company. I know who the leaders are. I know who the owners are. It's my job. It's my business. It's what I do. So this guy calls me, and when he asks that question, I know he's asking me what's the newest, hottest, latest, greatest thing out there. And before I got there, I was like, well, you sound depressed. What's up? He said, well, things aren't going well. And but I know the company he's with. And I said, you're still with the same company, right? He said, yeah. I go, how long have you been there? He said, I've been there for 9 years. I'm like, okay. And I know the company is doing well. There are people in that deal that are doing really well. And he's got this really depressed tone of voice. I said, well, remember, it's October 15, 2016. I said, let me ask, before we go to what's good out there, let's talk about you for a second. Let me ask you a quick question. How many people have you personally enrolled into the business in 2016? And he comes back to me. He's like, well, you mean how many total people joined? Did I ask you how many total people joined? If you're calling me asking me for help, you need to be straight with me, bro. I said, how many people have you personally enrolled into the business in 2016? And he kind of hemmed and hawed for a second. He goes, well, probably like, I don't know, like 4. Is there anybody on this webinar right now that can tell me in 10 and a half months that enrolling 4 people in 10 and a half months is an incredible feat? Like, I mean, 4 people in 10 and a half months is nothing. So I already know the answer before I even went there with this guy. I already knew the answer. I said, okay, all right, 4. All right. So you've been in the company how long? Because like 9 years. I said, how many people have you enrolled in the 9 years you've been there? And he says to me, again, he kind of hemmed and hawed for a second. And he goes, well, probably, because I don't know the exact number. I'm like, dude, is it closer to 20? Is it closer to 5,000? What's the number? He said, well, probably around 40. Now, I don't know how many months that is. Maybe somebody who's a math person can calculate 9 years times 12 and then divide the 40. How many people average is that a month? That's like nothing. So in 9 years, this guy enrolls like 40 people. And then my last question was, okay, you're full-time, right? He said, yeah. So you don't have a job, you don't have any other things you're doing? No, I'm full-time. I'm like, okay, so how many hours do you put on and in your business on a weekly basis? And he's like, well, probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15. And I'm thinking, you're a full-time network marketer coming to me complaining about how your deal's not going well. You're not even in the business. 10 or 15 hours a week is a part-time job. And here's a guy that's full-time. Now, look, I'm sharing this story with you because you're going to have people coming to you complaining about how Valentis isn't working for them. And I know you guys are on fire as a company. There's no question. I mean, you guys are on fire, right? So even in a business that's smoking as and growing as fast as you guys are growing, there are people that are not growing in the deal. And they're not growing because they ain't doing the work. Pure and simple. So when you got somebody that comes to you on your team that says, oh, things aren't working well for me, then the first place I'd go is, hey, what have you done lately? And then the typical response is, well, not enough. So here's the thing. They already know what the answer is. So they're mad at the lack of results that they're getting from the work they never did. And here's the thing. It's like, what do we do here? What do we do in this business? Oh my gosh. We get to go talk to people, like, and I say we get to, like, in an enthusiastic way. That's what we get to do. We get to go talk to people, engage people in conversation about products that can enhance and improve the quality of their life, make them feel better, look better, and offer them a business venture that can totally change the direction of their financial destiny for good if they do something with it. To me, that's something to hop out of bed and go, I get to go do this today. I get to go talk to somebody and help change somebody's life today. And that's a very big paradigm shift for a lot of people who are like, oh, I got to go talk to people about this business. You know? So here's the thing. This business is mostly a mindset game. In fact, I have a formula that I talk about when I speak on stages around the world, and it's an acronym. It's MASS. MASS. Mindset plus action plus skill set equals success. MASS. So the biggest battle that we have to win a victory over, and I'm going to tell you right now, it never ends. 30 years into the business, I'm still always having to work on my mindset. I'm still having to work on growing me. In fact, I would suggest to you that you decide today, if you're not already, like I'm in a never-ending growth mode. Every single day I'm doing something to grow me, to grow my skills, to grow my ability, to grow my to grow my thought process. I mean, my goodness. Have you looked at the news lately? It's so positive, right? I mean, we're in this coronavirus hell right now. The media has blown it up out of proportion. I'm not saying it's not real. It's real, but it's like the stock market's tanked as a result of it. People are freaking out. Nothing on the news is ever positive. We're always constantly being fed just junk, garbage, negative. And we need to be putting good stuff, and mental nutrition is what we need. What are we going to do so that when we wake up in the morning, we feel amazing, we feel excited to attack the day, we feel empowered to go do something? That to me is one of the most crucial things that you can do. I remember when I first started in the business, August of 19, actually just had my 30-year anniversary. August 29th of 2019 was my 30th anniversary in network marketing. I remember in that the first business presentation I sat in, they held up this book, Think and Grow Rich. And just understand, I was graduating college. What are you doing in college? Reading books, taking tests, reading books, taking tests. And they're like, you need to read this book. I'm like, I don't want to read any book. I just want to make some money, man. And I didn't get it. And I didn't. And then years later, I spoke with Jim Rohn on 7 times. I spoke with Jim Rohn at different events before he passed away. And he's got a lot of great quotes, but one of his best quotes is, formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. And I'm not knocking school. I mean, my kids are in school. It's great social, it's how to function in a social environment. It's great to grow up and learn reading, writing, arithmetic, whatever. But the stuff that you learn after school is going to grow you the most. Like, what book are you in? What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Like, I don't know. Do you got any negative friends or family? How many of you have ever bumped into somebody that's not so positive about what you're doing in your network marketing business? Not really accepting of the fact that that's what you're doing. Like, you're doing what? Why don't you use your college education to go get a real job? Right? And we are always having to battle that. Look, here's the thing. Everybody's got the same comp plan. You all have the same products. The comp plan and the products are already there, right? With Valentis, it's the same. Is the comp plan different from John to Sue? No, it's the same. Are the products different for each person? They're the same. Want to know what the difference is? You. The only difference is you. So if other people are doing it and they're succeeding, and there's lots of people with lots of varying backgrounds that are doing it. If other people are succeeding, then you can succeed. It's figure outable. Okay. Look, I wish I had a video of me with my cotton mouth, my heart pounding, and actually a pulsometer, so I knew how fast my pulse was going at age 22. And like a doctor looking inside my mouth and look at the cotton inside my mouth with the camera. Yeah, this is Todd Falcone prospecting, because that ain't me today. And Civ, I mean, if we go back to, because I worked with you, we worked together. If I go back to how you sounded on the phone 2008, 9, dude, terrible. Where you are today is not even, you're not the same dude at all. And I'm so proud to see you and your success and what you've accomplished, because you stuck to it. You made a decision that you're going to do it. And you're like, I ain't giving this thing up until I'm going to do this until I succeed. And look where you are today. Look where you are today. It's such a beautiful thing to see that happen. It requires work. Look, if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's simple. What we do is not technically challenging on a, I always like when I use the example of network marketing on a technical degree of difficulty scale, 1 is laying on the couch and 10 is doing brain surgery. I think brain surgery is probably pretty hard. We're about a 2, but we make it out to be a 15 or a 20 because we get so caught up in our head about what other people think about us and then we allow other people's opinions of us to determine whether we continue to work or not. Sometimes actually we have other people's opinions that actually alter our self-worth. And the moment you stop caring about what other people think about you is going to be huge. So going back to that box exercise, right? I got a little phrase that goes along with that. So if it's a 0, that ain't good. If it's a 1, I need to take a nap because you're making me tired. I mean, you reached out to one person in 24 whole hours. Hang on a second. I got to go to sleep for just 2. Okay. 3, 4, we're moving in the right direction. Now, I think it's really important in this business to be accountable. I actually run an accountability program that I've been doing since 2008, way back, and I still run it every quarter. It's called A-Team, and we run it because it helps to teach people how to be more accountable in their business, how to be, to learn to be self-employed, to track ourselves. Because look, your whole life, you have other people holding you accountable. First, it's your parents, taking care of you, changing your diapers, helping you to tie your shoelaces, teaching you things. Then it's teachers and bosses. And then here you are in this network marketing thing, this volunteer sport. You got enrolled by some cool person. You signed up. Yeah, they're there to mentor you and coach you and work with you. But if you ain't showing up, they're going to go work with somebody who is. And so what we've got to do is we've got to be able to employ ourselves. In fact, I would even ask yourself, based on how you're showing up, would I hire me? A great question to ask yourself at the tail end of every day is, would I hire me? And look, I mean, think about it. You are essentially the CEO of your own enterprise. You're independent distributorship. You're the boss. No, you don't own Valentis. You are an independent distributor, of course, with the company. But from you down, you're the boss. And so being the boss and looking at yourself in the mirror based on how you've been showing up, would you hire you? And some of you can go, yep, absolutely. And some of you may be going, no, heck no, I'd fire myself in an instant. So then if that's the case, what needs to change? And then why would you answer no to that question? Well, I'm caught up in this. You got to get real with yourself. Like this whole, like I got teenagers. So you ask them a question like, why'd you do that? And they're like, I don't know, cuz. I'm like, why did you just do that? I don't know, cuz. I'm not your cuz. And cuz isn't a word. I don't know. Because what? Why did you do it? Well, because, and I will make my kids be accountable to whatever it is that they did. And because teenagers are just like known for that. Oh, I don't know, cuz. So teenagers are hilarious. Like if you have teenagers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I hope I wasn't like that when I was a teenager. I probably was, but whatever. But I think it's really important for us to be real with ourselves. And then here's another thing that's a missing ingredient. When I first began my network marketing journey, I was very, very fortunate to be in an organization that had really tremendous training, really, really tremendous training. Like, and not every, for sure, not every network marketing organization has the depth of training that I was fortunate to have grown up in. And we had a Saturday training every Saturday. It wasn't even called a Super Saturday training because every Saturday we had a training in an office. We had like 400 training centers throughout the US at the time. So it wasn't even a home-based business. It was a network marketing business, but we all worked out of an office. So every Saturday we'd have a training. And during the Saturday training, we would spend time practicing. Like we would literally sit around and break up into groups of 3 and practice prospecting, which is the number one skill, right? It's like, there are lots of things that we need to do. You guys need to understand how to lead, how to team build, how to do all these different things. But if you can't enroll a customer or a distributor, you don't know how to engage somebody in a conversation or pique somebody's interest, then, I mean, that's kind of like the beginning of creating success, is being able to invite somebody to take a look, right? So we would actually practice how to invite somebody. And we did it every single Saturday, like clockwork. Every Saturday, we would spend 2 or 3 hours role playing. And, through my travels over the last 15 years and all these different countries and these different events that I go to, I've never been this guy where I show up at the last minute at the event, like the star with my bodyguards around me, walk in, like you can't touch me. You got to get past the velvet rope deal. Like you're not, you have to have purchased my VIP coaching or something to touch me. Like I'll talk to anybody. I'm just a dude. So I go to these events And I don't show up last minute and then leave the moment I'm done. I'll be there for the whole day, and I'll watch the other speakers and trainers and see what's going on. Like, I'm going to this event Thursday. I'm speaking for an hour on Friday and an hour on Saturday, but I'll be in the room the whole time watching the other people and feeding off of that energy. And the thing that's interesting to me that I think is missing is most events lack in incorporating interactive exercises and practice. And I know organizationally across the board, because I've tested this enough, people say that they want to get good, and yet they're not doing the things that help them to improve. Like, reading a book is one thing, taking notes is another thing, right? Like, if we look at the learning pyramid real quickly, and I'm not going to go through the whole learning pyramid right now, but from the standpoint of you learning a skill and being able to retain that skill, if you were in a lecture, like you were sitting in a lecture and taking notes, this is kind of like lecture mode right now, I guess. So it's like a virtual classroom, if you will. You're taking notes and you're listening to me speak or whatever, you're taking notes. The retention on that is like 5%. It's a very low percentage of retention. If you if there was audio visuals, like if I had slides right now or something, that would help to increase the retention of that information to maybe like 10%. But and these are like what we call passive learning modes. If we get into an active learning mode, like, okay, let's talk about prospecting for a little bit, or let me teach about prospecting for a little bit, then let's have a group discussion around it. If we had a group discussion around a specific subject matter, the retention of that skill increases dramatically. If we incorporated practice into it, it increases even more. So, like, for example, I don't know how many of you were athletes growing up, played soccer, tennis, football, baseball, softball, swimmers, runners, whatever you did. I guarantee you, whatever the sport was, no matter what the sport was, you had practice, probably multiple practices before you had the game or the match or whatever it might be called in whatever sport it is. Yet in network marketing, people say all the time that they want to get good, but they're not doing the things to get them good. And so I would implore you, if I could make you, I would, but I can't make you do anything. If I could make you spend time every single week with, a team member, a friend, a spouse, a dog, whoever you had to do it with, practice the different things. Like, hey, for example, people are afraid of objections. I love objections. Objections mean there's life in the prospect. I love it when somebody says that seems too expensive, or how much money are you making? Or, I need to think about it, or whatever the objection is that you might get. What if you practice those? What if you had your buddy, and let's say Siv and I were sitting here and we're like, hey, let's practice prospecting a little bit. So I call up Siv. I'm like, hey, can you play the mean guy? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. No problem. I'm like, hey, Siv, Todd Falcone, what's happening? He's like, what do you want? I'm like, well, Siv, listen, you're one of my good buddies. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. Hey, listen, Siv, I'm giving you a call. I just started this new business. You started a business? Oh my gosh, Falcone, you got to be nuts. It's probably one of those stupid MLM things, isn't it? Like, in fact, by the way, you know what? Take me out of I don't even want to talk to you again. You're not my friend. Click. Okay, so dealing with that, hopefully we would never have that kind of negative person, right? So working your way through that scenario. Then, hey, Siv, can you be the really nice guy? Yeah, I can be the nice guy. I'm like, hey, Siv, Todd Falcone. He's, Todd, what's up, dude? What's going on? It's been a bit. How are you? I'm doing great. I said, Siv, listen, I'm calling you. I've got, I just launched this new business. He goes, you launched a new business? Oh my gosh, what? Please tell me it's a network marketing business. I'm like, it is. He said, hey, listen, Todd, I'm having a party at my house on Friday night. I've got 100 people coming to my house for a party. Please, can you be at my house 7:00 Friday night? Present your business. He goes, all these 100 people that are at my house, they've all been looking to join a network marketing business. So can you be there? I'm like, yeah, I can be there. No problem. Right. And of course, that's the polar opposite. Right. And then everywhere in between, if you practice those scenarios, when they come up, you're going to be able to handle it. So when somebody says, how much money are you making? You'll be able to respond to it. Or somebody says, I need to think about it. You'll be able to respond to it. Or if somebody says, I need to talk to my spouse, you'll be able to respond to it. what I'd like to see happen is, and like, here's, let me just be really blunt with you guys. The reason some of you have this thing caught up in your mind about being involved in a network marketing business, and you're like, here's the thing, if you were in a full state of belief about what you're doing, you would talk to anybody, anywhere, at any time without hesitation. You wouldn't even think twice about, you got eye contact with somebody or you got into a conversation and said, hey, listen, you strike me as a super sharp, positive person. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in the process of expanding my business here. Just based on what I see with you, I think you would do great. I'd love to tell you what we're doing. You would never hesitate in any social situation, online or offline, if you're in a full state of belief about what this is. So that, to me, in fact, when I go speak on stages and I do mindset training, one of the first things I talk about is like, you got to build your beliefs in the profession. You got to build your beliefs in you. Now you're the unknown here, right? So it's going to take a little while to develop your self-belief, your self-confidence. That comes through doing it. That comes through experience. That comes through practice. That comes through time. That comes through patience, the willingness to fall down, get knocked down. What is the Chinese proverb? Get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8. Being able to be resilient to bounce back from setbacks or funky situations. Look, let me tell you something. Some of you think these successful people, they don't get no's. Every successful person gets no's. I'm probably one of the most well-known people on the speaking circuit in network marketing, and there are companies that say no to me. Do I go back and go to my bed and cry and curl up in a ball when somebody says no to me and said, maybe I shouldn't be a speaker anymore? No, I just get up and I go talk to another person, because that's the way it is. In fact, most successful people actually get more no's than people that are unsuccessful, because they're just willing to go out there and do it. They're willing to flip the rocks over. And if you can emotionally detach yourself, if you can learn to just realize this business isn't for everybody. Some are going to do it. Some are not going to do it. Either one is fine. And if you don't allow how they respond to you to impact your future decision-making, you're going to be in a great place. But it requires you constantly working on your skills. It requires you developing yourself. Again, when I started, going back to the book example, Think and Grow Rich, I didn't understand. I didn't want to read a book. And then like 2 months later, they're like, hey, you need to go to this seminar. And I was like, seminar, what's that? And then they're like, yeah, it's $300. It's in San Diego, California. I'm like, I can't afford that. I spent all my money when I signed up in this business. And they're like, and I remember this guy comes up to me in the office and he said, you're going to the event in San Diego, aren't you? And I was like, I'm not. He said, do you want to be a leader in this company? And I said, I do. He goes, well, leaders attend events. If you want to be a leader in this company, you need to be at the event, period, end of story. He turned and he walked away from me. Like, he just turned and walked away. He didn't even look back and give me a little giggle. He didn't give me he just walked away. And here's a guy that I respected walking away from me saying I needed to be at this event. And the message was clear. So I was like, oh, I better be at that event. Now I slept in my 1989 Toyota Corolla thank God it was in Carlsbad because it was warm. I didn't freeze to death. But it was the only event that I ever slept in my car in. And I'm so thankful I went to that event because it was life altering for me. It was really the beginning of me having a higher degree of belief around what the business model of network marketing was. I actually remember being there and going, wow, this is bigger than I thought this is. Because at the time I just knew the people that I was working with in the office, and I had to, I'm just so thankful I went to that event. I'm like, and I know you guys have events and trainings, and I think like Siv right now is down in Vegas, probably doing a training today for a group of people, or launching a group of people. Look, events are major contributing factors to your belief in this business. It's not about the rah-rah and the cheerleaders. It's about being around other like-minded people. It's fuel for the tank. It feeds your mindset. You got to be doing something every single day. I mean, one of the reasons I exist today is to teach people how to do this business. Over the last 15 years of speaking and training, I've developed a ton of different training programs that help people to figure it out from a field perspective. I'm going to give you a couple of resources before I wrap up. If you guys aren't familiar with this book or don't own this, you can get it for free on my website. It's called Fearless Networking. If you just go to toddfalcone.com and you scroll a little bit down the page, it says get Todd's book free. You pay if you're in the US, it's $9.95 shipping and handling. It's a little bit more internationally. And this book is actually, I wrote it as a training tool, and it's short. It's 108 pages. So any of you guys can devour this thing, but it's content from cover to cover. We've sold almost 500,000 copies of this book now, which I don't know if you know or not, but 500,000 copies of a network marketing book is pretty amazing. I also, for those of you that want to be exceptional leaders in the network marketing space and want to last in this business, I just got done spending 4.5 months working on a leadership development program that we released a couple weeks ago. I'm not going to talk about the details of it here, but if you're a person that wants to make this a career, you want to succeed, you want to last, you want your check to continue to grow, I'll give you a website. You can scope it out if you want to. This is for people. It's not for like people that are like, hey, I just want to make a few $100 a month at all. It's for people that really want to make this a career. The website for that's toddfalcone.com/leadership. And you can check that out. But that's our newest release. We just released it about 2 weeks ago. And again, it's for people that either want to be leaders in the profession or want to know how to develop leaders and a long-term income in the network marketing space. So look, take the challenge, that prospecting challenge. Civ was kind enough to, or Cynthia typed that in there. I appreciate that. If you're like, I'll end with this. If you're like, here's the thing. I know I've watched you guys for the last couple of years as a company. You guys are killing it. And if you are in the deal and you ain't killing it, and you're like, I'm looking all around me, I'm seeing all these people blowing this thing up and I'm not, I think it's going to probably come down to what your activity level is. Because it's a combination of either, because even if you're not that good, if you get your activity up, you're going to get results. And also by getting the activity up, you are going to improve. So now of course, incorporating practice and intentionally working on improvement is my advice to you, but just the experience that you get is going to help you get better. So even if you're like, I'm not that good at this, Todd, so what? If you get the numbers on the board, if you get enough numbers on the board, you're going to get somebody who goes, I see this. Because here's the thing, you're not the deal. The deal's the deal. You're a messenger. You get people in front of whatever the message is about your products and your opportunity, and you let that do its job. And if you do that enough times, you're going to create success. And look, Civ, I appreciate the opportunity of being here with your crew this morning. I know you got to go run off and do another training, but so awesome to reconnect with you, brother. It's been a while, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you for having me in front of your audience, and again, congratulations on all of your success. And if I can assist you guys in any way, I want to help any way I can. So pass it back to you, my friend.
Absolutely, man, and thank you. And you guys have fun skiing with your son. I mean, throughout the years, like since 1999, 2008, I tried to figure things out, right? On my own, by myself. And when we met, I was like, at first, like, man, super shy guy, like, I didn't know what to say, how to say it, spoke a little bit of English, forgot the words. But here's the deal, is I've been through the all fluff and no stuff, And one thing I learned from you about integrity is sometimes you don't need to tell people what they want to hear. You need to tell them what they need to hear. Yeah. And they might not like you at first. I didn't like you at first, man. I didn't like to be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But guess what? I love you now. I love you for what you are and what you stand for. And that's why I just can never pay you back, your wife, your kids, because the time that you put into this, the heart and the passion you have in the industry is by far, I just can't pay you back, bro. So all I can do is pay it forward. And I've referred so many people to you, especially the A-team, because accountability, you get all of everything, as you mentioned, the skill sets, the book reading, but without accountability, there's nothing, right? The A-team is what taught me accountability, the log and track, all that stuff, the high tech and high touch stuff that we don't talk about nowadays, it's all here, bro. And as I mentioned, I can't pay you back, man. And so I'm just very happy, very honored, and super blessed to still be connected to you throughout these years. And thank you for making some time for myself and for the people in my lives that I truly care about, because we're doing something big here. There's people that's watching you inside our group on the Facebook Live. There's people that's going to watch the recording. And all I can say is I'm truly thankful. And I see people here just typing in, thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Samsi. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Todd, for making some time for us, man.
My pleasure. Well, listen, I'll let you get to your Saturday training and enjoy your day. I appreciate you. And we'll chat soon, my friend.
All right, brother. Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
All right, let's see here. All right, guys, so I'm going to stay on. And then go ahead and just call into man, I'm just so fired up because it just gives me goosebumps. It just reminds me of the biggest event in my life, a couple years ago. It reminded me of the biggest event of my life. And the biggest event in your life is probably gonna be very similar to mine. The biggest event in your life is when you decide.